If you are sitting there thinking, I should probably buy a pre-banned 3D printer before things get even weirder, you are not alone. There is a genuine fear that the golden age of easy access to these 3D printers might be over. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly which pre-banned 3D printers you should buy right now. Now, I'm not listing specs, I'm talking about philosophy, but in each section I'll be giving you my own personal overall pick as well. Essentially, it comes down to this. Do you want a 3D printer that is an open book? Something that you can repair, modify, and even keep running for decades? Or do you just want something that works right now out of the box with zero headaches, even if it means living inside of a walled garden? We are covering everything from budget kings to industrial workhorses. Let's start with the heavyweight in open software and hardware. If you're worried about the future, about companies going under or cloud servers getting shut down, Prusa is a safe harbor. Joseph Prusa has built a company that effectively serves as the antithesis to the black box appliance mentality that we see taking over tech. When you buy a Prusa, you aren't just buying a printer, you're buying into an ecosystem that really does respect you as the user. You get access to most of the hardware schematics and firmware source code. For many of the machines, if a part breaks 5 years from now, you can 3D print a replacement part on the machine itself or buy a standard off-the-shelf component to fix it. That is the definition of right to repair. Now, their support is one of their greatest strengths. You have 24/7 live chat, email, and a massive community that has probably already solved whatever problem that you could encounter. Price-wise, you are looking at around the $450 to $500 price range for a Prusa Mini, which is a fantastic little farm machine, by the way. And then you kind of move up through bed slingers and into the Core 1 and the XL machines at the top, with those machines being priced in the several $1,000s. My overall pick for Prusa machines would be the Core 1, which comes in at about $1,200. Now, maybe you don't have Prusa money, but you still want that open source experience. This brings us to Creality and Sovol. These brands have traditionally been the entry point for a lot of people in this hobby. Creality lately has been on a roller coaster. For years, they were the fixer-upper brand. You bought an Ender 3, and then you spent, another $200 and maybe 40 hours fixing it up. But they've really tried to turn that around with the release of the K1 and now the K2 series. They're enclosed, they're fast, and they offer multicolor options. Now, support has always been kind of Creality's weak point. Historically, it was virtually non-existent. But I have to give credit where it's due. Since Bambu Lab entered the scene, printer tech, user experience, and customer support have seen huge leaps across our industry. And Creality has really stepped up. Now, it's still mostly email and community-based, but it's miles better than it was in 2023. Now, my overall pick for Creality, it would come down to the K2 Plus combo, which comes in at about $1,300 USD, and it has a very generous build volume and, of course, multicolor. Then you have Sovol. If you want the most bang for your buck in terms of raw hardware, look at the SV08 and the SV08 Max. These are fascinating machines because Sovol basically took the open source Voron design, which is usually a complex DIY style kit, and mass produced it as a retail product. You are getting a massive high performance machine for around $500 to $1,000 for the Max. However, Sovol is a small company. The user experience is still very much that generic budget experience of the non-heavyweight brands. But for the price, getting a machine that size and capability is almost unheard of. Now, its openness is a tinker's dream, but it could be a beginner's nightmare if you aren't capable of turning a driver or a wrench. My overall pick for Sovol is going to be the SV08 regular, not the Max, which is a very large machine. It's open source roots, and it's priced around that $530 range. And since you're just getting started, you're going to need some filament. This is a 1 kilogram spool of Polymer filament, which is my official sponsor, and they make some of the best filament in the world, and I'll have their links on the screen and in the description. And while you're at it, go grab some of this too. Element Sparkle Green, the best green that exists. Seriously, it's my spool, collector spool. Go grab it. All right, now let's address the elephant in the room. The company that completely disrupted the entire industry. If you don't care about open source, and you just want an appliance that prints like a dream every single time, you buy a Bambu Lab. Now, many call Bambu Lab the Apple of 3D printers. It is a walled garden. You use their slicer, their app, their cloud, and largely their proprietary parts. But in exchange for that, you get an experience that is polished to a mirror shine. They do have an incredible library of parts for you to service your machine at extremely fair prices, but unless you are stocked up on parts, This could be an issue in that dystopian reality where this all gets banned anyway. Now, the A1 Mini and the standard A1 are without a doubt the best entry-level machines on the planet right now. They start at around $200 USD. Now, calling them starter machines feels really like an insult because they outperform printers that cost $1,000 just a few years ago. If you step up to the P2S or the H series of printers, you are getting enclosed Core XY machines that are fast, reliable, and support AMS. That's Bambu's multicolor system, which is currently the industry standard for ease of use. Bambu printers work online and offline, and you are in control of whether or not you do the firmware updates. So there is no worry about you waking up one morning and finding your printer freshly rebooted with the new government spyware installed. Just pay attention to the firmware updates like any system that you update. Now, my overall pick for Bambu is tough because of the sheer number of options that they offer. So I'm going to give you two. For the budget-minded, the A1 Mini is an incredible printer that you cannot go wrong. Everyone should own an A1 Mini. Now, for the higher-end crowd, I would choose an H2C. That is Bambu's flagship nozzle-changing 3D printer with incredible speed, performance, and versatility. Now, let's look at the brands trying to bridge the gap between budget and premium. ELEGOO is famous for their resin printers, but their FDM machines are aggressive on pricing and print really well. The Centauri Carbon 2 is their latest push. It's an enclosed 3D printer running open source Clipper, and it comes in at a price point that makes you double take. It's around $450. The original Centauri Carbon is down to $289, if you can believe that. Is the user experience as smooth as Bambu? No. Is the support as good as Prusa? No. But you are getting 90% of the capability for 50% of that price. It is a fantastic value proposition if you have a tight budget but need an enclosed machine for printing materials like ABS or ASA. Now, my overall pick from ELEGOO right now would have to be the Centauri Carbon 2, of course. It is their latest machine and comes with that multicolor option. Now, on the other end of that innovation spectrum is Snapmaker. Their U1 is catching all of the attention right now. This is a multicolor tool changer. Unlike Bambu's AMS, where it cuts and purges filament, wasting plastic, a tool changer actually swaps the entire print head. This is the prosumer choice. It's cleaner, it's faster for multi-material prints, and it produces incredible results. It's around $850, which is the upper price tier for a hobbyist printer, but cheap for a tool changer. Now, the downside? Popularity. They are backordered. You will be waiting weeks to get one. But if you want to be on the bleeding edge of what desktop printing can do without the waste of an AMS system, then the Snapmaker U1 is the one to get. If you are leaning towards a tool changer like the U1, I'm not going to talk you out of it. In fact, I would highly recommend it, pre-order it, and wait, you won't regret it. Finally, let's talk about the heavy hitters. These are for the people who aren't printing nostalgia. They are for printing functional, load-bearing parts. QIDI has quietly become the go-to recommendation for engineering materials on a budget. Most of their machines come with heated chambers, and that is a big deal. A heated chamber allows you to print things like nylon and polycarbonates and carbon fiber and other reinforced filaments without them warping off the bed. Now, most other enclosed 3D printers can do those filaments as well, but the heated chamber gives you a better result. They start around $400 and go up to about $1,000 USD, and they are built like tanks. The user experience is going to be the generic one. The UI isn't as pretty as Bambu Lab's, but the hardware capability for that price is unmatched if you need to print those advanced materials. Now, my overall pick for QIDI right now would be the Q2 combo. It's about $650 USD, and that comes with a chamber heater and has their multicolor system as well. And then there is LulzBot. Full disclosure, I have an insane love for these machines. They are American-made heavy metal. LulzBot machines are built in Fargo, North Dakota. They don't use cheap stepper motors or extruders. They use high-end, best-in-the-business industrial components. They are designed to run for thousands of hours in a print farm without stopping. They come in both standard 1.75mm filament and a massive 2.85mm filament option. And LulzBot is a huge open source and open hardware believer. In fact, they are more open source than any other company in this industry, including Prusa. You pay for it though. You're looking at about $1,700 on the low end, up to over $9,000 on the high end. They don't have the flashy features like multicolor printing or AI detection, but what you pay for and what you get is longevity. You can also call them on the phone and actually talk to a human anytime in the US. If you are running a business and downtime costs you money, then LulzBot is the insurance policy that you buy. Now, choosing the best LulzBot machine is tough for me because these machines are so different. So I'm going to give you two of my picks here as well. Now, my first pick would be the Mini 3. That's this guy here on the bench. This machine is compact, it's powerful, and it's priced around $1,700, which is considerably cheaper than my second pick, the LulzBot Taz 8, which I would upgrade to a 2.85mm Asteroid quick change toolhead, where it is priced then at about $5,800. Now, this video wouldn't be complete without mentioning Voron kits. These are DIY 3D printer kits that require a little bit more knowledge and experience in 3D printing to assemble and get working properly. I don't recommend them for beginners, but I did want to mention them here as an option, and I'll have some links in the description for those that are interested. So, where does this leave us? If you are just getting started and you want the path of least resistance, you want to unbox it and print in 15 minutes, get a Bambu Lab machine. It is the best user experience, period. But if the current geopolitical climate makes you nervous, or if you believe in the philosophy of owning your hardware, then look at Prusa, LulzBot, or build out a Sovol SV08. Ideally, longevity in 3D printing isn't dictated by the brand that you buy. It's going to be by how open the platform is and the willingness of the community behind it. The most important thing is that you get started. The ability to turn a digital file into a physical object in your own home is a superpower. Don't let the analysis paralysis stop you. Pick the path that fits your values, grab a 3D printer, and start making something. Now, which of these pre-bend machines do you trust most to stay offline and working in 2026 and beyond? If this legislation all goes through and the bans take place, put it in the comments. Also, I'll have links to everything I mentioned in the description below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Oh, and YouTube? It wants you to go watch this video. Right there. Go do it. It's a good one. I know, because I made it.